And welcome back, and we're on to the higher plus 5 a day for the 18th of Feb, and let's have a look at the first question. So what do we have? So it's obviously a functions question, and actually the first part's not too bad. It just says what is f of 11. So I'm going to put the thing inside the brackets into the function, and what does the function do? Well, it takes my value and adds 2. Actually, let's change that to an 11. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Adds 2, and then it divides by 3. 11 plus 2 is 13, and 13 divided by 3 does not go evenly, so I will just write 13 over 3. That will do. Then it says over to the right, given f of a equals 0, find a. So now I know that 2 plus x over 3 is equal to 0. Well, anything divided by, or I should say 0 divided by anything is 0. So it must be the case that 2 plus x is equal to 0, which means x is equal to minus 2. Or I could say multiply both sides by 3 and then move 2 to the other side. It's the same idea. First question done, or technically first two questions done. Next question, calculate angle HFG. So be careful to know which one you're doing. So HFG is on the floor, and it's this angle on the floor. Let's try and make this a bit thicker so you can see what I'm doing. And it's this angle on the floor at the angle F. Okay, so actually I don't really care about how high the cube is, do I? I just care about the floor. So let's draw the diagram. So from above, the plan view, or looking at the floor, however you want to say it, HGFE, and I go from H to F. So it's not a very straight line at all, it doesn't matter. And I want this angle here. And I do know this length here is 12, and I know this length here is 4. So this is just straightforward trigonometry, isn't it? So therefore theta is going to be tan minus 1 of opposite 4 over 12, which get my calculator out. So shift tan minus 1 of 4 over 12, and that's going to give me 18.4 degrees. So then the answer to this one is going to be 18.4 degrees. Not terrible at all, actually. Could have been a bit worse. Next and final questions, because there's a few questions going on here, so let's do it all in one. I presume I'm starting on the right and working my way down. What do I have? So ODEF is a trapezium. So let's remember what a trapezium is. The definition of a trapezium is a quadrilateral which has one pair of parallel sides, and therefore I can join this up. It doesn't matter whether these lines here are the same or not. It doesn't matter whether they are parallel. It just has one pair of parallel sides, which means FE is parallel to OD. P is the midpoint of FE. Okay, great. So I'm just going to write down a half, just so I can remember that. And Q is the midpoint of OD. So I'm also going to write down a half here, so I can remember that. And then it says F to E is 2A. Now, if this is half, it means F to P is A, and P to E is also A. O to F is B, so I can say this is B. And O to D is 8A, which means I know this is going to be 4A, and it must be some amount of A, mustn't it, because it's parallel to F to E, and that is also 4A because I know it's half the distance. Right, and then it says find in terms of A and B, O to P. Okay, so I always like to write what I'm doing. So O to P is going to be O to F plus F to P. O to F is going to be B. F to P is A that we've already said, so therefore it's going to be B plus A or A plus B. Either's fine. P to Q. Now I can go round to the left or I can go round to the right. It doesn't really matter, except I will say I know what F to O is. So it seems easier to go P to F and then go F to O and then go O to Q. Now I've got to be very careful with my arrows here. So P to F is against the arrow, so therefore it's minus A. F to O is against the arrow, so it's minus B. And O to Q is in line with the arrow, so therefore I'm adding 4A. So if I add all these things up, that's going to give me 3A minus B. Again, not terrible. I think the terrible bit might be coming. Now it tells me that R is the midpoint of P to Q. So where's P to Q? Okay, so I've got this imaginary line P to Q in that direction, and R is here. So I'm going to really clearly make sure I know my arrow is this way, so I don't go the wrong way down. R is the midpoint of P to Q. Find O to R. Okay, so O to R is going to be O to F plus F to P plus a half of P to Q, which I have worked out above, so I'm going to use that again. O to F is B, F to P is A, And then a half p to q is going to be a half of what I've just worked out. So it's going to be plus 3 over 2a plus, minus a half of b. Collect all these terms up. So I've got a plus 3 over 2a, which is going to be 5 over 2a. And I've got b minus a half b. So I've got 1 take away a half. That gives me a plus a half of b. Right. Let's see what the final part offers me. The lines O to R and F to E are extended and meet at the point Y. And it says find Q to Y. Right, I'm going to draw this on, then I'm going to delete it just because it'd be messy. So I've got O to R, which goes this way, and then I extend it. And then F to E I extend, which goes this way, and my point Y is here. Okay, and it wants Q to Y. Okay, so let's have a go. I think I'm going to need O to Y at some stage. And then I'm going to have to make a calculation whereby I work out what the equivalent is. Okay, let's write down what I mean by that. So I know O to Y is going to be lambda. Now those that haven't done the lambda yet, you will get to that in lessons. People don't like it. It just involves a bit of practice. It's going to be some lots of O to R, which is 5 over 2a. Let me zoom in, because then you can see what I'm doing. 5 over 2a plus a half b. So 5 over 2a plus a half b. Oh, okay, I've just seen what's going to happen here. Right, now it makes a bit more sense. Now, that's O to Y. So I can say that's 5 over 2 lambda a plus a half lambda of b, which means that Q to Y, in fact, actually, let's not do Q to Y. Let's do F to Y. So F to Y is going to be F to O plus O to Y. So in other words, that's going to be F to O plus O to Y. And that's going to be minus B, because I'm going against F to O, plus 5 over 2 lambda A plus a half lambda B. Now, let's just collect these terms and I can say what I'm about to say, which is 5 over 2 lambda A plus, well, it's going to be a half lambda minus 1, so a half lambda minus 1 lots of B. Let's have a look at what F to Y is. So F to Y is a straight line which is in the direction of A, which means there are no B's involved because there's only A's because it's parallel to A, which means therefore it must be the case, and I'm missing a few steps of explanation out here, but it must be the case that that is equal to 0, which means that lambda must be equal to 2, because a half times 2 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 2, so lambda equals 2, which means I can go all the way back to this bit here and say that O to Y, and sorry about this because I realise this is quite a long question, is going to be 5a plus lambda is 2, so plus b. I'm going to highlight this because I'm going to use this in a second. Okay, so a bit of an extended thing to work out what O to Y was. There might have been a quicker way, but that's the best way I saw. Which means that Q to Y, let's go back to my diagram. So there's a lot of jumping around, but also I need you to be able to read what I'm doing. So Q to Y, well actually this isn't too bad now. So Q to Y is Q to O plus O to Y. So Q to Y is Q to O plus O to Y. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it down here because then I've just got more space. So Q to Y is going to be minus 4a plus 5a plus b. And when I add all these things up, well, minus 4a plus 5a is just a. And then I've got a b. So amazingly, after all of that, it's just a plus b. Wow, a mysteriously difficult vectors question thrown at the end. There could have been a quicker way of doing that, but I can't see a quicker way of seeing that O to Y is 5a plus b without doing the lambda part in between. But if you see a quicker or better way, frankly, do let me know in the comments down below. There may well be one, but that's how I got there. I'm pretty happy with what I've done. Feel it works out fine, so I'm all good with that. It just feels like I had to go around a little sort of extra loop to get there. Either way, do like and subscribe. Any comments down below, I will answer you, and I'll talk to you next one. Thanks all.